After an anonymous survey of NBA players, Tyrese Haliburton was voted the most overrated player in the league, a result that seems almost comical today, since the 2025 playoffs proved otherwise. But being underestimated, discredited, and then shattering all expectations has always been the summary of Haliburton's career. He graduated from Oshkosh High School in Wisconsin as a 3-star recruit. Despite being the 5th best player in the state, he was only the 51st best point guard in the country and wasn't even among the top national prospects. They then went on to Iowa State, where they assumed an important role right from their first year. It was an outright title, playing 34 minutes per game. Even with modest numbers, 7 points and 4 assists, his efficiency was impressive. 52 out of 100 shooting accuracy, 43 out of 100 3-point shooting accuracy. A great start, but not yet enough to put him on the NBA's radar. Everything changed in the second year. Haliburton increased his production to 15 points, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds per game. Even with the increased volume, it maintained its incredible efficiency. 50 out of 100 on field goals, 42 out of 100 on 3-pointers. Standing at 96 feet tall, his versatility and game vision caught everyone's attention. By the end of the season, he was already seen as one of the best point guards in the 2020 draft. His strengths were clear: ideal size for the position, above-average game reading, offensive efficiency, and good defense. Reports describe him as a troublesome advocate, capable of taking multiple positions. On paper, it seemed like a perfect prospect, but there were doubts. He had a light build. He avoided attacking the paint and would go for the free throw line. Furthermore, despite being a different shooter, many questioned whether his unusual shooting mechanics would work in the NBA. Before the draft, the most common comparison was to Lonzo Ball, another tall point guard, either a natural or past career player, with an unusual shooting style, who was more efficient in college. The similarity made sense, but it also showed the limit that many saw in Haliburton's potential. When the draft began, no one expected him to be among the top picks, but no one imagined he would fall so far either. Predictions placed it in the top 10, with Phoenix Sun being predicted as the 10th pick. However, pick after pick, he was sidelined until the Sacramento Kings, who drafted Celestino in 12th place, even though they already had a young star, Aaron Fox. Even as a rookie, Haliburton proved he was the biggest steal of the draft. 13 points, 5 assists, with a 41% success rate on 3-pointers. In his second year, he improved to 15 points and 8 assists, but ended up involved in a trade that sent Domantas Sabonis to the Kings and sent him to the Indiana Pacers. In his first full season in Indiana, Haliburton transformed into a league star, averaging 21 points and over 10 assists per game, shooting 49 for 100 from the field, 40 for 100 from the free throw line, and 387 for 100 from the free throw line. The following season, he maintained his level and guided the pace of a rebuilding process to become the elite of the East. At the trade deadline, the Pacers bolstered their roster by trading Bruce Brown, 3 first-round picks, for Pascal Siakam from the Toronto Raptors. The movement worked. They eliminated the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round, then the New York Knicks in the second, but were ultimately swept by the Boston Celtics, who would go on to become champions. Even so, the performance went unnoticed by many people. Going into the current season, the Pacers were seen as a good team, but not even the favorite. Celtics and Knicks were the safest bets. New York had also strengthened its cast with Carentan and Torse, and Michael Bridges. As the season progressed, the Cleveland Cavaliers also entered the competition strongly, and the Pacers ended up in 4th place in the East with 50 wins. Haliburton averaged 19 points and 9 assists. The team surprised everyone by eliminating the Cleveland Cavaliers, the top seed, in just 5 games, and the Knicks in 6. From stealing the draft to becoming one of the league's best point guards and playoff leaders, Haliburton has proven just how underrated he was. 5 years later, he's not just the biggest find in that class, he's one of the most complete and dominant stars in the NBA. Now the big question is, who are the 11 players who were chosen before him and where are they now? The first overall pick in the draft belonged to the Minnesota Timberwolves, who decided to select the 6-foot 3-point guard from the University of Georgia, Anthony Edwards. There was a lot of debate about who should be number 1, but when it came time for Minnesota to choose, Edward was practically confirmed as the top name in the class. The former recruit, ranked 4th nationally in high school, was coming off a college season averaging 19 points and 5 assists. Efficiency wasn't yet ideal, but the talent and potential were undeniable. With a wingspan of 2.5 meters, a strong physique, and impressive athleticism, Edwards was clearly the best playmaker in the class. Since arriving in the NBA, he hasn't disappointed in the slightest. He was runner-up for Rookie of the Year in his first season, turned austere in his third year, led Minnesota to the Western Conference Finals in his fourth, and just finished his 5th year, again leading the Wolves to one round before the NBA Finals. In the most recent season, he had the best numbers of his career, averaging 28 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists, in addition to establishing himself as one of the best shooters in the league, converting almost 40 out of 100 three-pointers, even with more than 10 attempts per game. 5 years later, Edward continues to prove that he was the right choice at the top of the draft, an explosive, decisive player who is establishing himself as one of the new stars of the NBA. The second overall pick in that draft went to the Golden State Warriors, who selected the 7'13" center James Wiseman from Memphis. Before the draft, he was a difficult player to evaluate. His physical potential was absurd, and he had left high school as the country's top recruit. But college basketball barely had time to prove itself. In just 3 games for Memphis, Wiseman averaged 20 points and 11 rebounds in 3 games. But his career was cut short after the NCAA deemed him ineligible, upon discovering that he had received relocation financial assistance from coach Penny Hardaway. Based on what we know today, perhaps this was the best thing that could have happened to him, because if he had played a full season, the flaws that would later appear in the NBA might have become evident much sooner. As a rookie with the Warriors, Wiseman averaged 12 points and 6 rebounds, but his season ended tragically, with a meniscus injury that sidelined him for the remainder of the championship and the entire following season. When he finally returned, the team no longer had room for him. He played just 21 games, averaging less than 13 minutes per game, before being traded to the Detroit Pistons in a deal that brought Gary Payton II back to Golden State. In Detroit, Wiseman finally had the biggest role of his career, playing 25 minutes per game and averaging 13 points and 8 rebounds. However, in the following season, he returned to the substitutes bench. His averages dropped to 7 points and 5 rebounds. In the following offseason, he signed a 2-year contract with the Indiana Pacers, seen as his last big chance to prove his worth in the NBA. But fate was cruel. After just 5 minutes of a season-opening game, Wiseman suffered a ruptured Achilles tendon, the worst possible injury for an athlete, and that often ends the careers of players who are not top tier. Currently, James Wiseman is without a team, after being traded to the Toronto Raptors and then released shortly afterward. A journey that began with the status of the country's #1 prospect, but ended up becoming one of the saddest and most frustrating stories of the class of 2020. The third overall pick in the draft went to the Charlotte Hornets, who selected the 6'1", 2'1", Ramador LaMelo Ball, a player who, despite never having played college basketball, was the most talked about name in the entire class. LaMelo's journey to this position has been full of ups and downs. Even in elementary school, he was already part of a national championship winning team at his school, playing alongside his older brothers. In his second year of high school, his name became a national sensation. He even scored over 90 points in a single game. But from then on, things quickly went downhill. LaMelo dropped out of high school to play professionally abroad and later joined a league created by his own father, which ultimately lowered his draft value. Fortunately, the critics were wrong. He joined the Spire Institution, a more traditional environment, and his reputation began to recover rapidly. And the fact that he grew to 2 meters 1 only helped. Next, LaMelo went to play in the Australian MLB, where it really caught the world's attention. There, he averaged 17 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists, showcasing a mature, creative, and versatile game. This performance put him back among the top 3 picks in the draft, and the Hornets took a chance on him. The choice yielded immediate results. LaMelo won the Rookie of the Year award, averaging 16 points, 6 assists, and 6 rebounds. In his second season, he made another leap, reaching 20 points per game and earning his first selection for the All-Star game. Since then, injuries have hampered his consistency, but even so, he remains one of the most talented and exciting young point guards in the NBA. Last season, when he was healthy, he averaged 25 points, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds. The Chicago Bulls secured the 4th overall pick in the draft, selecting 6'1" forward Patrick Williams from Florida State. Williams's number of college heats wasn't very impressive. He spent most of the season coming off the bench, averaging 9 points and 4 rebounds. Even so, his physique, coordination, athletic explosiveness, and defensive versatility caught the attention of scouts, who saw enormous long-term potential in him in the NBA. During his first 4 seasons with the Chicago Bulls, Williams' performance was consistent, but without major leaps, averaging around 10 points and 4 rebounds. By the end of his contract year, he was already considered a good defender and 3-point shooter, a typical 3-and-D player, and seemed poised to make the expected leap. The Chicago Bulls believed in him and rewarded him with a 5-year, $90 million extension, a hefty investment that has so far not paid off on the court. Last season, Williams had the worst numbers of his career, averaging 9 points and 4 rebounds, in addition to shooting less than 40 for 100. The Cleveland Cavaliers had the 5th overall pick and took a chance to select Allard over a 96'1" player from Albert, Isaac Okoro. After a season with Colin Sexton and Darius Garland forming the backcourt, the Cavs were desperate for defensive reinforcements. Therefore, it was no surprise that he chose the best perimeter defender in the class. In the NBA, Okoro had a slow start. As expected, he was a good defender from day one, but the attack left some doubts. In his rookie year, he shot only 42 for 100 from the field and 29 for 100 from three-point range. Many people wondered if his defense would be enough to keep him relevant in the league. Fortunately, he evolved offensively over the seasons, improving his efficiency. Although he never became the player Cleveland hoped for when they drafted him in the first 5, Okoro has become a solid rotation player. Currently, he plays about 19 minutes per game for the team that finished first in the East, averaging 6.37 points per 100 three-point field goal attempts, a modest but important role within a competitive cast. The 6th overall pick belonged to the Atlanta Hawks, and they selected the 7'3" center from USC, Onyeka, Hong Kong. In college basketball, Hong Kong was coming off a dominant defensive season, showing excellent timing on screens and presence in the paint, as well as averaging 16 points and 9 rebounds, numbers that demonstrated his potential as a strong, modern center and agile. In his early years in Atlanta, he had limited playing time, averaging only 2 minutes per game and contributing around 5 points per game as a rookie. However, over time, his role gradually grew within the team. Today, Kongo is an important piece in the Hawks' rotation, established as a versatile center who protects the rim, finishes well near the 6th position, and can still create opportunities in transition. Currently, he averages 13 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 assists. The 7th overall pick was made by the Detroit Pistons, who selected the 6'3", 1.96m, French point guard Killian Hayes, the only other point guard chosen before Tyrese Haliburton in that draft. Looking back, it was a controversial decision, since Hayes and Haliburton had completely different profiles. Haliburton stood out for its university-level production, but he was criticized for his awkward shooting mechanics and limitations when attacking the rim. Race, on the other hand, didn't have impressive numbers, but he stood out for his potential and technical qualities seen on video. Playing in Germany between drafts, he averaged 13 points and 2 assists, shooting only 29 per 100 from three-point range. Modest statistics for someone chosen so highly. What really propelled him into the top 10 was the perception that he was a fluid left-hander, with great ball control and a refined touch near the rim, as well as good court vision. However, upon arriving in the NBA, it became clear that his offensive talent was overrated. His summer season was far below expectations, averaging just 7 points, 5 assists and more than 3 turnovers per game, shooting 35 for 100 from the field and 28 for 100 from three-point range. Unfortunately, he never managed to perform offensively. After years of inconsistency, Hayes was released by the Pistons at the end of last season. He attempted a fresh start by signing with the Brooklyn Nets, but after only 6 games, he was released again. The 8th pick belonged to the New York Knicks, and many believed it would be the perfect destination for Tyrese Haliburton, but the team ended up passing him over and selecting Obtop, a 7'1" forward from Dayton. Topping was coming off a dominant college season, averaging 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists, shooting 63 for 100 from the field and 39 for 100 from three-point range. However, when he arrived in the NBA, the impact of Topping took a while to appear. During his rookie week, he played only 11 minutes per game, averaging 4 points. Even in its 3rd year, the numbers went up a little, 16 minutes, 7 points. He simply couldn't find a place in the Knicks rotation. Before the last season, the team decided to go another way, switching to the Indiana Pacers. Interestingly, he's set to play alongside Haliburton in exchange for 2 second-round picks, and it was there that he finally showed his potential. He fit perfectly into the fast-paced rhythm of the Pacers' offense, and in the last 2 seasons has averaged solid 10 points and 4 rebounds, shooting 55 for 100 from the field and 38 for 100 from three-point range. The 9th overall pick in the draft went to the Washington Wizards, who selected the 7'1" foreign forward Danny Avdija. Avdija's appeal as a prospect was clear. He was a true point forward, capable of creating plays and defending at his height. In the NBA, it took him a while to get going. During his offseason, he had low-scoring matches with little impact and poor efficiency, but towards the end of his innovative contract, Avdija began to stand out. In his 4th year, he recorded 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists, with a shooting split of 51.37. It seemed to be a key piece in the rebuilding of Wizards. Surprisingly, however, He was traded to the Portland Trail Blazers last off-season in exchange for Malcolm Brogdon for a first-round pick, a decision that now seems like a huge mistake, considering that Avdija remains one of the most versatile and productive young players in the league, with recent averages of 17 points and 4 assists. As mentioned, the number 10 pick seemed like a likely destination for Tyrese Haliburton, since the Suns had not yet finalized the deal for Chris Paul and needed a point guard. However, they surprised everyone by selecting Jalen Smith, a big man from Maryland, a prospect that almost no one predicted would make it into the top 10. In his rookie season, Smith barely played, appearing in 27 games with an average of 6 minutes. In his second season, his average playing time increased to 13 minutes, but he was traded to the Indiana Pacers in exchange for Torrey Craig. In his last 2 full seasons in Indiana, he averaged 10 points and 6 rebounds before signing with the Chicago Bulls, where he averaged 8 points and 6 rebounds. The last pick before Haliburton was by the San Antonio Spurs, who selected Devin Vassell, a 6'3" forward from Florida State. He was coming off a solid college season, proving himself a reliable wing player in the 3-and-D scheme, averaging 13 points and shooting 42 per 100 from three-point range. In the NBA, this quickly translated into production. In the second season, he averaged 12 points per game, shooting 36 out of 100 points out of 3. In his fourth season, he increased his average to 20 points per game, and recently recorded averages of 16.4 points, shooting 44 per 100 from the field and 37 per 100 from three-point range. And so ends the overview of the players chosen before Tyrese Haliburton. The only thing I ask is that if you're following this channel, you're enjoying the content, and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. Go ahead and press the High Park button. Wow! This button is really helping new content creators. I also invite you to become a member here on the channel for less than the price of a small soda you buy at your supermarket. You can become a channel member, support Camisa 30, and soon there will be exclusive content for channel members, okay?